Well, good evening and thanks for joining us here on News 20 on GTN. I'm Randy Gardner. We've got a great show for you tonight. We're talking about the American Red Cross and a lot of stuff to talk about here in the news lately. Dan Fox, the communications manager for the American Red Cross, joining us to talk about this tonight. First of all, I think everybody out there, unless they live under a rock, have heard about the American Red Cross. But the amount of people you help across the nation on a daily and weekly basis is astounding. Can you talk to us about how many people are touched by the American Red Cross?
Sure. You know, it's a kind of funny story that I like to tell, or maybe not even funny at all, but just a story that I like to tell is one that happened to me back before I began working for the American Red Cross. This was several years ago. I was living in an apartment, and my neighbor next door had accidentally started a fire that spread into my unit. I wasn't home at the time, but when I got back home and the fire department was there putting out the flames, and I saw my stuff was a little dinged up, to say the least. One of the first people to come up to me were volunteers from the American Red Cross, asking, you know, if I needed water, if I needed a place to stay, what have you. And I was really surprised by that, because I think when people think of the American Red Cross, and I know I did at that time, when you think of the Red Cross, you think of the major disasters, such as what we saw earlier this year with Superstorm Sandy on the East Coast. You think of things like that. You don't think of kind of those personal disasters, those small things that happen every day, and they happen everywhere across the country. And it was surprising to me to see those Red Cross volunteers, but it was very heartening as well. And I think if people really talk to their friends and family, they would find out that almost everybody they know, or they at least know somebody who has been touched in some way by the Red Cross, be it somebody who's gotten help after a fire. Maybe you've taken a babysitting class or a first aid class taught by the Red Cross. Maybe you've received blood products from somebody who donated blood through the Red Cross. Excuse me. I think people would be somewhat surprised to find out that they know somebody, at least one somebody, who's been touched by the Red Cross in some way.
I think a lot of people, when they hear the words American Red Cross, they think of blood donations. But there's so much more, like you just mentioned, that goes on, what you guys do, and not only locally, but nationally. Can you touch on a few other things that you guys work on?
Sure, and it's you know, it's by no accident that people think of blood donations when they think of the Red Cross. The Red Cross supplies over 40% of the nation's blood. We're the largest sole provider of blood products in the country. But you're absolutely right, we do so much more than that. We do disaster relief. Again, as you've seen earlier this year, the Red Cross still, as of this taping, still on the East Coast, still helping out with the victims of Superstorm Sandy. So the Red Cross helps provide food, helps provide lodging, helps provide comfort, helps people get back on their feet after major disasters like that, or again, like those personal disasters that I mentioned a minute ago, like with house fires or with floods and things. The Red Cross also provides safety training, also provides CPR training, first aid classes, provides babysitting classes, provides a number of different classes that people can take just to better themselves, provides preparedness tips. You know, obviously, as we get towards the winter months and we get into what could be some dicey, inclement weather, people want to make sure they're prepared just in case they do get snowed in for a day or two. And the Red Cross can help with tips along those lines. And so, you know, the Red Cross offers a myriad of items and classes and different things to help people in all walks of life, regardless of what may befall them.
We know it's a 12-month-a-year need, which is blood donations. But do you see them go up and down during the holidays, during traumatic events like the event that happened on the East Coast, or when we had the events down on the southern coast in Louisiana?
Sure, absolutely we do. First, let's talk a little bit about what we've got coming up, which are the winter holidays. And certainly during the winter months, we do see a drop in blood donations, but sometimes that need can go up. And that drop in donations can be due to a number of factors. The most popular and most noteworthy probably are winter holidays. Obviously, people are making plans to spend time with family and friends during the holidays. They're getting their Christmas shopping done or their holiday shopping done. They're not thinking about donating blood. It's not on their priority list. As a result, we see those donations drop. We also see, again, the potential for inclement weather. When you've got snow and ice, people don't feel comfortable leaving their homes. People don't feel comfortable going on the roads, and you can't blame them for that. Sometimes that snow and ice can even cause cancellations of blood drives. Again, those are donations that we're missing out on. You've also got seasonal illnesses, cold and flu season knocking on the door. When people aren't feeling well, we ask them to stay away from donating blood until they're feeling better. And again, that's for the safety of not only themselves, but also the health of the blood that we could be giving to somebody else. And so all of those factors can combine to play a role in keeping donations down during the winter months. And so, you know, it's especially important that we have, while we do have nice weather, that people come out and donate as often as they are eligible to do so, so that way our supplies stay stable. You also mentioned natural disasters or major disasters. Certainly those can have an impact. As example, Superstorm Sandy on the East Coast. As a result of Superstorm Sandy, while the good news is we didn't see a whole lot of injuries that resulted in people needing blood transfusions, we did see a lot of blood drives being canceled in 13 states as well as in Washington, D.C. As a result of those blood drive cancellations, we missed out on over 12,000 units of blood and platelets that we were expecting to collect, but that we couldn't because of the storm. As a result, the blood donors in the Missouri-Illinois region where we are, as well as around the country, they stepped up and their blood products were shipped to the East Coast. But a storm like that and cancellations like that not only put a strain on the local area wherever they occur, but can put a strain on the nation. And that's why, you know, the American Red Cross as a national organization, when something happens here, people over here need to step up. And that's a great example with Superstorm Sandy of how the donors in our area were able to step up and help out the patients on the East Coast.
And that was going to be my next question. How, as a national group, do donations work? If you donate in St. Louis, if nothing is going on around the nation, does it stay primarily in St. Louis, but it can be moved around as needed?
Exactly. That's a fantastic question. I'm glad you asked it because I know a lot of people wonder what happens to my blood after I donate it. In fact, the American Red Cross just recently has started a program where if you donate blood with us, in the weeks after you donate blood, you'll get a letter in the mail from us telling us where your blood went, what hospital did it go to. Might not be able to give you the specific name of a patient per se, but we'll be able to tell you where it went. And you're right. For the most part, when blood is donated here in the Missouri-Illinois region, it's going to stay right here in the region. But if there is an event somewhere else in the country that requires us to ship blood products, we'll do that as well. So we'll make sure that local needs are met. And once those are met, if there is a need somewhere else in the country, then yes, your blood or platelet donation could go somewhere else.
Do you find that most people are returnees, per se, once you donate and you find out that you're going to be okay, it's not going to hurt you, you're going to be fine, that those people continually come back and donate? Is it hard to get those new people in?
Yeah, that's the challenge that the Red Cross faces, is getting those first-time donors, because there are a lot of concerns, maybe some misconceptions, some worries about the blood donation process. Is it safe? Is it going to hurt? Is it going to be inconvenient? And because all of those fears or those worries could keep people from donating blood. But once people do get that bug, if you will, once people do it once or twice and they realize this doesn't hurt, it's not that inconvenient, it's really not a bad process at all, they start returning and they keep coming back. And I think it also kind of begins to touch them and begins to kind of sink in what exactly they're doing. They're taking roughly an hour out of their day, but in doing so, they're helping save up to 3 lives every time they donate blood. I think when people kind of get that into their minds and they start thinking about that, they realize that that minor inconvenience of donating is just that. It's a very minor inconvenience when you think of what it is you're doing.
And I don't mean to be goofy with these next questions, and they might be something that we need a doctor in to answer, but you'll look at giving your blood, and I'm going to go from a 3rd grade level here, your blood into somebody else's body or vice versa. How does that work? How is it not rejected, and is it safe?
Sure, it sounds like something that you'd see in a sci-fi movie or something like that, and it's something that, again, that's one of the concerns that some people who have never donated before, or people who have never been on the receiving end, who have never received a blood transfusion, they're worried about that very thing. And I'm not a doctor by any means, but I can tell you this, that when we accept a pint of your blood, or when you donate a pint of your blood, it's done after a rigorous process of making sure that you are indeed healthy enough to donate it, that your body can lose that 1 pint of blood and be okay. And not only that, but that we can then give that blood to our hospitals, and the blood can be transfused to somebody with very little to no health effects. And how we do that is we start as soon as you sign into an American Red Cross blood drive or donation center. We're going to ask you some questions about your health history, just to make sure that indeed you are healthy enough to donate. We're also going to give you a mini physical. We're going to check for things like your iron level. We're going to check for things like your blood pressure. We're going to ask you what kind of medications, if any, you're taking. We want to do all that to make sure that, again, you are healthy enough to lose 1 pint of your blood, and that blood is healthy enough to give to somebody else. And then once we do give it to once we do get it from you, once you donate it to us, we take it back to our facility right here in St. Louis, where it goes through rigorous testing. This is testing for diseases such as syphilis, hepatitis, HIV, West Nile. We're looking for anything that could present a potential problem to somebody who could be on the receiving end of it. Once it goes through that testing, then it goes to the hospital, and the hospital makes sure that the blood products that we are giving to them are indeed safe to give to somebody in particular. They make sure that the blood types match up. Somebody with one type of blood may not be able to receive a different type of blood. So the hospitals work with the patients to make sure that they're receiving the right blood, and then the blood is given to the patient. And very, very seldom do you see effects as a result of that. Do you see health effects as a result of receiving a blood transfusion? But the Red Cross works very hard with the Food and Drug Administration, who we're regulated by, as well as with all of our hospital partners, to make sure that the blood we are giving is as safe as possible.
When you talk about 1 pint, that's basically, is that 1 bag full? Is that correct?
That's if you think the human body has about 10 to 12 pints of blood in it. You're filling up 1 pint or 1 bag of that blood. And people ask, well, is it safe to keep living after giving? That
was my next question. Does it grow back, or what happens to your blood?
What happens after you give it? Your body will generate that pint back, but it does take a little time, and that's why if you've ever donated blood before, you'll notice that you can't donate again the next day or even the next week. In fact, there's a 56-day period, roughly 2-month period between when you're eligible to donate blood and when you can again, to make sure that your body does recover from that 1 pint of blood that you've given. Some people, after donating blood, immediately after donating, they'll feel maybe a little dizzy or a little lightheaded. That's normal. You just lost a pint of your blood. It's not uncommon to feel that way. That's why the Red Cross, as soon as you are finished donating, will give you some snacks, give you some refreshments, some delicious Keebler cookies, some fruit juices, some soda, some water, whatever it takes to make sure that you're getting your nutrients back and that you're feeling okay. And we'll also ask that after you donate blood, that you kind of take it easy for the rest of the day. Don't go run a marathon immediately afterwards. Take it easy. Give your body a little bit of a chance to recover.